This is 13 Minutes. I'm Elliot Reeves. My guest today is David Mccrae. David, it's brilliant to have you here. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Elliot. I said last week that 30 minutes was lucky for me, and it proved unlucky because our stream completely failed. So this week I'm hoping to get through the 13 minutes.
Yeah, likewise. Badly let down by the internet last week. These things happen, though, you know. Part and parcel of the old doing the lives. So yeah, to do this again, who is David Mccrae?
Let's see if I can answer the same as I did last week. So for about 4 years now, I've been helping people start a new chapter of their life, helping them with key transition points. I've been doing that I've just been accumulating titles, basically. I'm now an author, a speaker, a podcaster, and very recently, as in kind of lockdown recently, I've also started helping people to tell their stories, to become speakers and share their message in the world at what I think is a more important time than ever.
Yeah, that's a great intro. I think that's pretty much how you said it as well, so good effort. How have you been managing yourself throughout the lockdown period?
Yeah, so when this all really started to fire up and escalate, I guess, I recognized that for all of us, there were two key things that no one was talking about. And actually, I had to take that on as an individual myself, namely that mental health was going to be a big issue and loneliness was going to be a big issue. Everyone in March time was speaking about the physical health implications, and rightly so, by the way, but we just weren't talking about all of the other implications that were going to come with the measures that have been put in place. So I really started looking at, well, where I was, the position I was in, and the audience I had. And I thought, what's my role in this situation? Because I'm not a first responder. I'm not a key worker. How do I help and support during this time? So I recognized that these two issues, mental health and loneliness, was something that I was placed to be able to help with. So I put a few measures in place. I opened up my Author Your Life Academy, which is normally my subscription membership program. And I said, for the next 3 months, everyone can get it for free. I'm going to be putting training and resources in there to try and help you get through and cope and even indeed actually find some of the opportunities during this time as well. So that was the first thing that I did. The second thing that I did was I just sent a call out to leaders across the world, leaders in my network, in the various groups and communities I'm a part of. And I said, right, I'm going to up my podcasting game. So normally I produce 2 interviews per month. I went to 2 interviews per week. And in fact, me and you, Elliot, actually have an interview sitting on ice that was meant to come out. It will come out later on, but that got parked because of this whole situation that came up. So I did an isolation inspiration interview series. I got 24 leaders from, I think it was 13 different countries. And so I've been releasing 2 of those interviews per week for a 12-week period for this 3 months that I anticipated being the sort of the real difficult portion of lockdown and the COVID-19 sort of situation. So those are the 2 things that I did thinking of serving others. And I think that really helped for me in terms of my mental health and my social health was, man, I've been interacting with people more than ever at the moment. I've been doing interviews, I've been working with clients, I've been speaking to friends and family a lot more. So I knew that having that interaction was really important to stop me getting lonely and also really kind of upping my creativity as well. And that was really important for my mental health, to feel that I was useful, that I was doing something, that I was purposeful when maybe some things in life have been taken away and have been restricted. So overall, I'm in a good situation compared to a lot of people, but I felt I still needed to put those measures in, firstly for myself, and then also looking at, well, how can I actually serve people during this time that we find ourselves in?
Yeah, that's excellent. What has this taught you about how you were operating before the lockdown happened?
I was too busy before lockdown. And I think that's been true for a lot of people, as they recognize that they were doing a lot of busy stuff. And actually what lockdown did was it just completely removed potential decisions from life. So for example, all of my in-person workshops that I do as a speaker, I couldn't do them. So I no longer had to worry, if you like, about all the things that go into running an in-person event. I just said, well, I can't do them. So, and to be honest, I've actually planned for the rest of 2020. I'm not anticipating doing an in-person workshop because I've actually
Hmm.
pivoted so much. And I think the environment won't actually be quite right for the rest of the year to do the in-person stuff. I don't know. We'll see. But that's kind of what I'm preparing myself for. So actually, there was this real, I guess, ease that came. And I said, well, the only things I can really do right now are writing my next book that I'm working on. I can still do that. I've
Hmm.
still got the podcast. I can get my voice and other people's voices out into the world. And I can do my in-person stuff in the online capacity. So I've been doing a lot more Zoom webinars, a lot more Facebook Lives. I've started hosting virtual summits for the people that I'm working with in terms of public speaking. So what it really did was it just, through taking away some of those options, it actually really gave me a clarity on what I want to be working on and what I want to be concentrating on. And actually the same is true of relationships. I've looked at, well, if I'm going to do my 2 Zoom calls per week, who are the people who I really want on that call? So again, it just clarifies and prioritizes what's important in life. And I think that's happened for
Yes.
a lot of people at the moment.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, yeah. How do you think the world might start to change as a result of what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, history books are going to be written about this. They're going to be teaching in classes in 2046 of what COVID-19 did on a social, economic, political level, and we'll need a lot more than 30 minutes, I think, to
Hmm.
even digest it. But I think the
Yeah.
big thing, and I think this is just where we got to last week, actually, was talk
Yeah.
about the role of work. I think how people look at their work and how they do their work is going to be dramatically different. And the
Hmm.
first obvious thing that I think everyone is aware of that is going to change is remote working. Why are we all driving into the city, creating pollution, wasting days and weeks of our years? If you think of the amount of time that some people spend commuting, if they're commuting for an hour or 2 hours, 5 days a week for 50 weeks of the year, that's a lot of time that people are wasting, and we're polluting our environment at the same time. So what is the point when a lot of it can be done remotely? So that's the really obvious change that I think everyone is aware of, that we're going to be doing this virtual stuff a lot more.
Hmm.
But I think it goes deeper than that. I think now that we have seen, okay, there isn't this one paradigm of work. There isn't this Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, I go to the office and that is what constitutes productive work. Well, why does it have to be Monday to Friday? Why does it have to be 9 to 5? Why does it have
Hmm.
to be in the office? There's now all these questions that people are starting to ask themselves, which I think only a small minority of people were asking themselves before. Probably the entrepreneurs have been asking themselves this for a long time. Like, why is this 9 to 5, Monday to Friday gig the way that things are supposed to work?
Yeah.
But now I think the general employee is starting to ask these questions. And I think the attitude that we have to work and the place that work has in our life as a result, that is going to change dramatically. It's going to be more flexible, it's going to be more fluid, it's going to be more results driven. Like, if you can do some great work in 30 hours a week, why are you wasting the extra 10 hours? Like, what is that extra 10 hours actually doing? If you can do great work between Monday and Thursday, then why can't you have a long weekend to recharge? And actually, the
Yeah.
research suggests that 4 day weeks are a lot more productive than 5 day weeks. So, all of this, I think, is going to be changing over the next decade. And I'm really excited, even just to see that aspect of change. Never mind all of the other things that I think are going to change as a result.
Hmm. What one thing would you most like to change?
Something that I've noticed during this time is that people are thinking of each other a lot more. If you go even back to like my personal example, when this happened, the first thing I started thinking was, what's my role in this situation?
Hmm.
How can I help people? What is my unique method of service? Because I'm not out there in the hospitals. I'm not out there making sure the bins are taken away. I'm not out there making sure that the internet works. What do I do to help people during this situation? I think people have been thinking of that a lot more at this time, and this has been really encouraging to see. A lot of people are comparing it to kind of the wartime situation. There's this we're all in it together feeling. And I do think that this is going to go away somewhat when this is all over. It was very much sort of crisis driven, and I understand the psychology behind that, but I really hope we retain an essence of that. All of the, as I said, I've been interacting with more people than ever,
Yeah.
even though I can't physically be with them. I
Mm-hmm.
really hope that we keep some of that, because I think the kind of 5 years leading into this, we've seen this really ugly divisiveness coming up in our world, this polarization between us versus them. We've seen it along political lines, we've seen it along religious lines, we've seen it along class lines, socioeconomical lines, national lines, and it's been really an ugly period of human history. I think this is the most divisive that we have been
Mm-hmm.
in a long time, if not ever.
Yeah.
And I really hope this common experience, I don't think it's going to fix everything. I don't necessarily think it's going to change anything in of itself, but I
Mm-hmm.
hope we realize that we can connect with other people more, even if they don't share these certain attributes that we identify with ourselves. That somebody can have a different political opinion, religious persuasion, sexual orientation, and that isn't the sort of the red line where you can no longer interact and connect with them. And I
Yeah.
really hope that changes in this decade, because it's ugly, it's nasty, and I think it was just getting uglier and nastier leading into this. And I hope this is some kind of catalyst that starts to reverse it the other way again.
Yeah, I'm so with you. That's such a brilliant answer, and you put that really, really well. I like that a lot. What advice or insights would you give to anyone that was struggling just now?
Yeah, again, I mean, this is what I've been putting up in the academy for the last 3 months. If I was to give, let's say, like three quick tips for you personally, as in as an individual listening to this,
Mm-hmm.
keep your routines. Don't let your routines fly out the window. And I think that's what people initially did. That they started started getting the alcohol orders and finding the latest Netflix series, and all of that is good for a week, 2 weeks. But we're 3 months into this now. You
Mm-hmm.
can't just completely let your routine fly out the window like that. So all of the things that you're doing before, your exercise, your meditation, your reading, whatever it is, keep that routine, because that gives you some kind of sanity in this situation. Something that I've been doing as well is doing different things on a Saturday and Sunday so it feels like the weekend. So you get a different feeling of Monday to Friday, Saturday to Sunday. And I know I was kind of criticizing perhaps this Monday to Friday mentality, but I think you need that structure to get a sense of, some people don't know what day of the week it is right now. You've got
Yeah.
to know what day of the week it is
Yeah.
at least. And that comes from your routine. Second of all is connection. Stay connected with people. And I know that this virtual environment doesn't give you everything,
Mm-hmm.
but it actually gives you a hell of a lot. Elliot, right now, I can see your face. I can feel what energy you're in right now. I can tell whether you're positive or negative, happy or sad, excited or chilled. Like, there is actually so much that you can get in this virtual environment.
Mm-hmm.
So don't negate the value of that. As I said, I've been interacting more than ever, and I've actually felt more connected during this period than at any other time, because I've been doing this interaction. So make sure you're doing that as well. Get that interaction in whatever form you can.
Mm-hmm.
And the restrictions are starting to ease now. So we're starting to get a little bit more leeway in how we can do that. Take
Mm-hmm.
advantage of that. And then the third thing is service.
Mm.
I think we always find ourselves in a position of pain when we're focused on ourselves, when we're focused on our struggles, our challenges, our obstacles. What I really encourage my speaking clients to do is, a lot of people, when they get on stage, they get so nervous because they're thinking about them. They're thinking about rejection, ostracization, that they're in the spotlight. And what I say to them is, when you're on the stage, get that focus away from yourself and into your audience. Think
Mm-hmm.
about, who am I here to help? Who really needs to hear my message today?
Mm.
If I was to just change one person's life from this talk, that would be worth it. And try and think of and focus on that one person. And in this situation, my advice is exactly the same. When we start focus on, well, I can't go out, I can't see my friends, I'm on furlough right now, it gets us into this story of struggle, and it gets us into this story of pain.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how you can contribute to other people. And that might just be giving your poor granny a phone. That might be going and doing the various volunteering schemes right now. That might be, if you're someone like ourselves, Elliot, who has a bit of a platform and an audience, like double down
Hmm.
on helping your audience at this time. Be that leader, be that messenger, be that servant. And when you start to think beyond yourself, you'll be amazed at how much your own pains, insecurities, and challenges just seem to wash away. So those are my three recommendations. Keep your routine, keep your connection, and serve to a higher level.
Brilliant stuff, David. Where can people find you?
I'm all over the socials. So my company is Author Your Life. So do that on everything, your Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, etc. If you're interested in more of my public speaking work that I'm doing at the moment, learning how to communicate your story and your message in this
Hmm.
online environment, then I have a Facebook group called Rise and Inspire Speakers. We have a virtual summit going on there right now at the time of broadcast, actually. So we've got over 35 speakers who are sharing inspirational messages at this time, and they've been really flipping good so far this week. So we've got a lot more lined up for the weekend, obviously. So come on in if you need some kind of message of hope or positivity. You can find that. That's Rise and Inspire Speakers, and then the acronym is RAISE, RAIS.
Awesome. David, you've been brilliant. Much appreciated. Thank you for your time, and look after yourself. I look forward to catching up again soon.
Amazing. Thank you, Elliot.
Cheers.